Alrighty everyone, just a quick heads up, I am feeling a little under the weather today, so I apologize if my voice isn't the best for this video, but I think we're hopped up on the appropriate amount of NyQuil to get through this video without too many fuck ups here and there, but I'm sure we're gonna have some as per usual. But today we are going to be doing a class based around probably one of my favorite successor chapters of the Raven Guard, the Necropolis Hawks. So, the Necropolis Hawks, just like the Raven Guard, one of the things that they are known for is their ability to be the absolute masters of stealth and guerrilla warfare. However, what separates them a little bit from most of the other Raven Guard is they particularly specialize in urban environments. Now, I know when most people think of the Raven Guard, they tend to think of expert snipers, master duelists, being able to infiltrate absolutely any objective and destroy the target before they even knew what hit them. Now, the Necropolis Hawks don't diverge too far from that. However, they like to do it at the point of a knife versus a sniper rifle or any other long-range weaponry. So that's what our class is going to be based around today. It's going to be featuring the Necropolis Hawks, and this is a little build I put together. That way, if you want to do some LARPing, as my personal favorite, sneaky beaky boys, you have something to go off of. So let's go over the weapons first. So because we are going to be focusing more on urban engagements, we are going to be grabbing the bolt carbine. There's a little bit of that NyQuil kicking in right now. But we are going to be using the bolt carbine here. Really, you can use any of them. Personally, though, I would tend to stick with the SMG version as compared to the other one that has the scope on it. I'm drawing a blank on what it's called right now. I would prefer, though, one of the SMG versions, just because I think that kind of fits more with the urban kind of engagement tactics that the Necropolis Hawks are known for. Personally, I'm going to be running the Ophelian Liberation. This does give you just a little bit more in the magazine and also some extra ammo in reserve. You can use the Ghillie Crusade. You will get a little bit of an accuracy buff with less ammo in the mag and less ammo in reserve. Next, we really don't have many options for the bolt pistol, so I am going to be taking the Ghillie Crusade. Main reason I'm going to take this one is so even though we are taking a little bit of an accuracy penalty with our bolt carbine, by using this particular variant of the bolt pistol, we are still going to be able to get off headshots, which is going to be a big part of this class build, because that's what's going to allow us to pop up our cloak pretty much non-stop. And finally, the combat knife. Again, we really don't have a whole lot of options. So me personally, I am going to take the fencing variant. Fencing, it's just my favorite of the three different melee options. But the other nice thing that I do like about it is, with this class focusing primarily up close with enemies, and that sometimes that's not going to leave you as much wiggle room to dodge or block. So having that little extra bit there in the fencing department, you know, to get those perfect parries is going to help kind of save us if things get a little too chaotic, and then we can always dip with our cloak. Now, within the perk tree, it's a very simple setup, but the first perk that we're going to grab is Melee Mastery. So this is just going to give us a 20% damage increase on Majora's level enemies and higher. It'll be something nice, you know, for when we are up close and personal with some of the Tyrannid warriors, also some of the Rubric Marines and that. The combat knife is usable, however, it's definitely on the weaker end with as compared to some of the other melee options. So just having a nice little buff overall, it's nice to have on there, and it is something that you will notice while playing the game. Next, we have high capacity. So this is just going to give us a 10% increase to our overall ammo capacity. This will work with not only the bolt carbine, but also the bolt pistol as well. And it just gives us a little bit extra ammo to chew through, especially because that bolt carbine She's a hungry girl, and you will notice that sometimes you're going to run out of ammo a lot quicker than what you initially anticipated. Finally, within the core perk, we are going to be taking Dexterous Hands. This is going to allow us to reload 20% faster, and it's also going to reduce our weapon spread and recoil by 15%. So this is kind of a way to cheat a little bit. Granted, the bolt carbine, at least the variant that we're running, doesn't have the best accuracy, but we are going to be able to mitigate that a little bit by running this perk. Next, for the team perk, we're going to take Squad Renewal. Anytime you get a headshot, your ability is going to recharge by 10%. So if you get 10 headshots, which especially on Minoris enemies, that can happen extremely quick, you can have your ability completely recharged. And again, one thing to keep in mind with the cloak, if you do choose to manually deactivate it, you're not going to have as long as recharge timer on it. So if you only run it to 50%, all it takes is 5 headshots. Now you're back up to full. Now that being said, you do have to wait for it to become full again before you can pop it. It's not something where, you can stop it at 75 and think, okay, I'll pop it during this engagement because there's a little bit, or there's more guys here, I'll save it for there. You're going to have to wait for it to completely recharge, but this is going to help us get it recharged so we can keep popping our cloak as we need it. Next in gear, we're going to take Purification. This is going to, so anytime that we manually activate our camo cloak, it's going to remove all negative status effects, but it will also restore our contested health. So typically with the Sniper class in Space Marine 2, it is a class that definitely pays to hang back with. You only have 2 bars of armor, and a lot of the weapons that you have with it aren't the best at dealing with hordes. Now, the bolt carbine isn't terrible, but when you compare it to a lot of the other ranged weapons that most of the other classes have, it definitely struggles to keep up. So because of that, this is a build where I would say expect that you're going to take a little bit more damage. And the nice thing with Purification is it does restore all of your contested health. So if you hurry up and you get an enemy into executable range, pop your camo cloak, you're going to have that contested health restored, and then you're going to be able to immediately execute them and hopefully regain a fair bit of health. Next, we have Tactical Ambush. So the first melee attack that breaks camo, it's going to deal 150% more damage. This will be something nice to pair with how I personally have my combat knife set up to where I do that little burst attack. It's going to help knock back a couple enemies, plus also get a lot more damage on the main target of the attack. Now, however you want to set up your combat knife, that's completely up to you. There are probably better ways than what I have mine set up to. But with there being a whole new weapon perk rebalancing update coming out, I don't want to mess with it too much right now. But that might be something that we revisit once they address some of the different weapon perks and update them. Finally, within the gear category, we're going to have Lingering Concealment. So typically the way the camo cloak works is anytime you would do something that would break it, such as firing a shot, interacting with something on the field, the camo cloak's going to deactivate. By running this perk, anytime that you would do something that would break the cloak, you're still going to remain invisible for 2 seconds. And you can do a lot in 2 seconds. So this will be nice to where, let's say we plant a melt-a-bomb, we're still going to remain invisible. They're not going to know that we're there. We can blow it and then just open up on anybody who's left over with our bolt carbine. Finally, for the signature perk, we're going to use Invasion. So anytime we get a perfectly timed dodge, it's going to automatically trigger our camo cloak without actually spending, without actually us losing the charge that it already has. Now, you are only going to be invisible for 5 seconds, but again, you still can combine that with Lingering Concealment. So, if you do shoot immediately after you turn invisible, you're still going to have 2 seconds of being invisible. But that's our build for the class right there. It's pretty straightforward. It's going to be really good at getting up close and personal with the sniper class, which is Not something that I see a lot of players do a whole lot, so this hopefully will be a fun way to use this class. Now we're going to go ahead and get into a game here real quick. As always, we're just going to do this little part here on average difficulty, and we're going to do it in a private lobby. We're going to be doing Mission 3, Vox Liberatus, just because this one is kind of more urban compared to some of the other operations that there are. But as always, if you're just interested in the build and you want to try it out for yourself, you're more than welcome to stop watching the video, and I thank you for tuning in regardless. If you do want to see what this class can do, feel free to stick around, and there'll probably be minimal commentary from me moving forward at this point as normal. But as always, thank you guys for watching and enjoy the mission. Now, one thing I do want to throw out real quick, at the time of recording this, update 6.2 is live, so there was a patch that was very recently released to kind of fix some of the issues that have been going on since update 6.0. So hopefully we'll get to see some of that. I think in terms of stuff that's going to affect this class, it's going to have very minimal impact, but one of the things that we should notice is a lot less spore mines. Actually, okay, maybe I was wrong, because this bolt carbine, now I know we are only playing on average, but that just felt like that was chewing through enemies a little too quick right there. And as you can see, even with tap firing the bolt carbine, you still can get some decent accuracy. Of course, one of the perks that we used from the core tree is going to help us out a little bit with that as well.
Look! A warpfire bulwark protects the Thousand Suns position.
The Thousand Suns do not want the Xenos penetrating the cathedral.
Lower that shield and the Xenos will shred through the blasphemers. Then we will kill what remains.
they definitely must have buffed the bolt carbine, because this feels so much better than what it used to be. Which is honestly a nice welcome change, because I do know there's been a lot of people in the community that have been saying that this game's too easy, but I think a lot of times that's just a small vocal minority that's talking. I've definitely noticed a lot of other people saying that, you know, they wish that this game still had a little bit more of the power fantasy element going on to it, and I would definitely agree with that. There are times where I just want to be able to shut my brain off, slay the enemies of the Imperium. And, you know, if I ever do want to challenge, you know, there is Lethal Absolute that I can always go back to. But a lot of times it's just fun to shut your brain off and have a good time, not have to stress out about stupid little things. So, glad to see them carrying through with some buffs. One of the things that I did read and I will be excited to try is, as a big Bulwark fan, I did also hear that the Power Sword was buffed. So it will be nice to see how that is, because there have definitely been a lot of times where I felt like it's a little underpowered. So hopefully they gave that a nice buff as well. But at least as of right now, I'm loving this new bolt carbine that we have.
There it is, brothers. Profanity in action.
Flesh-bound meddlers! Your false emperor holds no sway here! Resistance. The changer of ways shall never be thwarted! Damn! Elusive bastard!
Now, if they could just do something about the stun lock, I think that would be the next thing I'd like to see them address.
But I feel it weaken in our presence. This battle we fight on two fronts, body and mind.
I think before we pay too much attention to that helper, we're just going to clear up our workspace here real quick. So one thing I did kind of misspeak about a little earlier, whenever I said about the camo cloak restoring all contested health, I was kind of thinking of Invigorating Icon right there. Sorry, like I said earlier, brain's not firing on all cylinders right now. But as you can see right there, it doesn't give it back to you like Invigorating Icon does. Just whatever contested health that you currently have available, it will restore that. So just something to keep in mind. Either way though, it's still definitely a pretty powerful perk. So if you do notice you're in a situation where you might have taken a lot of health but it's still contested, you could hurry up and pop that and save it.
I see another altar. This looks to be the source of their warp shield.
But I would say that's probably my favorite tactic with this class, is just chuck a grenade, since you won't break camo from doing it, and then just immediately open up on them with the bolt carbine.
It weakens.
It's kind of a nice way to get a lot of damage onto the field very, very quickly.
Success. The barrier is no more.
And because you'll still be cloaked while doing most of that, the enemy won't aggro towards you.
Vermin are descending.
Pity we cannot stay and watch. The view is perfect here. Brothers, do not get drawn into this fray. No obvious source of the jamming. Assets are stirring from below.
That was just terrible misplay on my part. Sometimes I forget how slow the Terminators move compared to some of the other enemies. And what I mean by that is they definitely broadcast it, you know, hey, we're about to do this attack, and you feel like, you know, most other enemies, okay, if you're letting me know you're gonna do this attack, means you're probably gonna do it right about now.
Like being this exposed.
But for them, it just feels like there's a little bit of lag, you know. Their brain's telling them they're gonna do one thing, but the body isn't quite letting them do it.
We are strung here like meat on a hook.
The machine spirit is...
Do it. The lift is on again. Just a little detail. I felt a chill up my spine. There are more than heretics here. Wait.
I will say, I don't know what it is about this particular operation, but anytime I try to make a video and I use this operation as the one that I'm gonna do, it always seems that it just gives me the absolute
If those
worst
bolters are
possible luck.
protecting it, we need to purge
Whether
them.
that be with the spawns or just anything else, but it always feels like it's trying to make it more difficult than what it needs to be.
It readies. Can we not choke it with the bindings instead? What's the demon sorcery? I could not finish the altar off. Target raised. That looks done and dusted.
The mind's eye senses your basest desires. I tire of their banality.
Stole my armor, careless swine. Slay them in a leap!
Sacrifice on the out.
Demon host engaging. Regroup and Are we certain breaking its chains is a good thing? Get down! Target raised.
My chains split into 1,000 doors, and I am cast into them all.
Can we not choke it with the bindings instead? Demon host engaging. Are we certain breaking its chains is a good thing? Negating altar. What's the demon sorcery?
Damnation! We will not be bested by this atrocity!
Disengaging. It readies for an arcane assault.
We sanctify what you have desecrated!
Brace for demonic bombardment. I have to fall back. Get down.
Your affront to existence ends now!
Well, despite the RNG gods, we still made it out on top. completely unscathed, as per usual. But that's the class setup there for the Necropolis Hawks. Like I said, for me personally, I really do enjoy using this class setup. It's a nice, fun way in that to take the sniper out of its primary role of just hanging out in the back, popping dudes from a zip code away. Sometimes it's nice to get up close and do a little guerrilla warfare.